Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brief Let's Talk About It podcast. And as always, we're bringing some more amazing guests to you guys. But before we get started, I want to say that this is for educational purposes only. If this is your first time tuning in, do me a favor, head over to that YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified every time we drop a new episode. As always, if you have questions, put them in the comments section. We're answering them as we go. Today's guest, Shaazia Terry, she is an amazing, amazing individual with a beautiful smile to go with it. So, she is on with us. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself, tell you where she's from, and we're going to get into this conversation. Okay, Shazia, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good, good.
Yeah, it's
I'm
great to see
27 years
you.
old. You
Go ahead,
too.
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm 27 years old. I write stories and songs, bringing hope and uplifting people through that. And I'm from Schenectady, New York.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it's great to have you on the show. And let's talk about Shazia, right? Let's talk about who she is and how you got into the work that you do, and the message that you're giving to people to bring that hope and inspiration to them.
Definitely. Yeah, I've been writing since I was 14 years old, but I didn't change how I started writing until 2021 when my mother passed away. And I just
Mhm.
had to humble myself and just ask the Lord to heal me from this pain. And day by day, He did, and He made me better and stronger. And ever since then, I started combining faith and fiction and just trying to help people through the stories and through the music.
All right. All right. Now, when you talk about your journey, you talk about the loss of your mother, and always, my heart is with you. I definitely know what that feels like from my perspective, and I know the loss of a parent is pretty hard. Now I want to go back. You said you've been writing songs since you was 14.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. What kind of songs were you writing? Because this sounds like at a very early age, you identified what you wanted to do in this world.
No, I definitely did. At that time, I was writing any songs. I could write any type of songs, any beat, and I can just write anything and go off it from there.
Okay, and what sort of style music do you do? You do rap, you hip hop, you know what I'm saying, R&B. What do
Now
you do?
I'm Christian rap now, more gospel Christian rap now.
Okay, okay. See, I love that. Right? I was just listening to the station out here, which is K Love, and I love my gospel. Right? I grew up in a Baptist church. You already know how that is, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We upbeat, we jumping and this and everything else. And I just recently got into some Christian artists. A few of them, which are really, really good, right? And such as the things that they talk about, I think we can relate to nowadays in this world, especially with everything that's going on, the grief, the heaviness of the grief of everything. So, you know, now you said that changed when your mother passed away. And so let's talk about that transition, right? Let's talk about when did your mother pass away,
Okay, she
and
passed away
how
in
did go ahead.
yeah, she passed away in 2021 of July.
Wow. So that was like in the middle of the pandemic and everything.
Yeah, it was.
Wow. And so I know in a lot of cases, a lot of people weren't able to be with their loved ones when they passed away. Were you able to be with your mother?
No, I wasn't.
That hurts. That hurts. So now I guess my next question would be how did how did you process that? How did you go through that, not being able to be there? And how did it affect your life?
It was hard because I was thinking she was gonna make a full recovery. At the time, they didn't tell me she was doing bad enough where she would be gone the next day. So I thought I was gonna have time to get to the hospital and talk to her, and that we would laugh about it. So when I got the call that she was gone, I was shocked. I was thrown.
Wow. And I take it you had a really good relationship with your mother.
Oh yeah, we were like best friends. It's always me and her against the world.
I love that, man. Because you remind me, hearing that reminds me of a relationship that I had that relationship with my mother until I moved away. And I was kind of distant, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the lone wolf out of the family. But the relationship that my mother had with my younger sister, she said the same thing. It was always her, them two against the world, no matter what, right? And so I can only imagine that bond, you know what I'm saying, and how you guys are interacting, laughing, you know what I'm saying, and everything else. And that's a happy moment, right? And now your life has been turned around um, after this loss. And so, what are the processes that you're going through now during your grieving period? And how did that affect like your relationships with other people? Because I know sometimes we lose someone, people stay around, people don't, and half the time when us as the bereaved, we tend to be like, I don't care, go. Right? You want to go, go. I don't care. So how did your relationships change? And but how did you change yourself? And then we'll get into um, the process of you changing your music when you decided to do that and getting your message
Okay,
out there.
definitely. So the relationships definitely changed after me losing my mother. My relationship with my father actually got better. Now a lot of that was thanks to the Lord, because before she passed away, me and him, our relationship was shaky. I didn't
Right.
ever want to come back home again, to be honest with you. I had no interest of calling him or dealing with him in any kind of capacity, in the family as a whole. I wouldn't
Wow.
even go around the family because he was there. That's how rough the relationship was at the time.
Wow. And then now, I can definitely understand that. I can definitely understand that, and I take that came from um, you being a child, right? Being young and growing up, and then having that relationship be as rocky as it was. But now with the rest of your family, did your relationship with them change as well?
Yeah, my relationship with them wasn't never bad to start with. I got along with mostly everybody, and like my grandma, she was a big churchgoer. That's where God came from in our family. She would
Right.
make us go to church with us and read the Bible and all that. So I was raised in the church.
Okay. Okay. Baptist.
Yeah.
Oh, see, there we go. See, I grew up in the church too. And when you mentioned grandma, I was sitting there thinking like, yep, I remember those days of being in the church with grandma. But see, I was a busybody, right? So I always got beat up in church.
Oh.
Always got beat up. Push to foot down. But
Mm-mm.
grandma, you know. Man, she was almost every day, right? Mom had to go to work. She used to work nights um, at the sewing factory, and then she went to school. And so I spent a lot of time with grandma, right? Me and my little sister. Needless to say, I spent a lot of time getting beat up too, right? You know what I'm saying? Because grandma
Right.
didn't play that. She was like, boy, you sit your butt down. It's time for do this, that, and another. And I'm just like, boy, I tell you what, I wore a whole lot of poppins, right?
Right.
I wore a whole lot of poppins. And she believed that going to that church, her and my big mama, they were like, we're in church this night, this night, this night. We're gonna be in choir doing this. Now I'm not much of a singer, right? You know what I'm saying? So needless to say, my first couple of times in choir, it was very hopeful until they realized that I couldn't sing. Then I was just told, boy,
Right.
go sit down in the chairs, okay? You go be all right. We just sit over there. We be done here after a while. I was like, yeah, that's probably a good move for you.
Right.
That's probably a good move for you, you know. And growing up in the church and everything, it inspired your music, and so now you're going through you're going through this process of loss, right? And grief has a strange way of changing people in the way that we do things. And so let's talk about the process of grief that you went through. And when did you start to transition? Or, when did you start to change and transition the way about how you began to get your message out?
Yeah, so I would say I didn't start transitioning until, like I said, I humbled myself and allowed the
Mhm.
Lord to work on me. And I actually, my grandma used to always talk about relationship with God. I didn't know relationship. I would go to church and, I was religious, but I didn't understand relationship because I still was doing other stuff while still
Right.
praying, while still, listening to the music and whatever, but still being in the world. And I didn't understand relationship until my mother died fully and I gave him control. I'm a person who's used to being in control. I was
Mm.
self-dependent, used to, working, doing what I had to do, to survive. So giving over that control was new.
Ain't that the truth? Look, I'm 49 years old. So when you talk about control, and I love the fact that you said, relationship, having that relationship with God, right? And I'm like you, like a little bit different, right? 49 years old. I grew up in the 70s, 90s was the time where I was not, no, I was not that guy. All right. But for some odd reason, God always found um, in his in his heart to forgive me and have grace for me, right? Although I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. Because like you said, I was in the world and I lived in a different time zone where I was a gang banger. Um, and my motto was, you know what? God stays out of my house, I stay out of his. Right? You know what I'm saying? So when people always now I would, and this comes from somebody who grew up in the church. Now my mentality changed when I started losing all my friends or so-called friends in the game, right? You know what I'm saying? And um, watching people get killed, things like that. Having to make some really tough choices. Made some really bad decisions, and I think at some point I lost my faith, right? Being in the world, and I began to look at life a little different. I used to always say, at first, I used to always say, God, why? I didn't ask for this, right? Give me a way to figure out how to navigate this world. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not constantly having to survive it. And then when I didn't get any answers, I was like, you know what? Fine. I'll survive it the best way I know how. And I did. Barely survived. And and chime in anytime that you want to, because I'm going to get into the relationship aspect and how important it was, for me myself, and I can't speak for everyone else, but for me myself, the relationship aspect didn't come until I was in my early 30s, and it wasn't until I had my son, and I went, I need something better. I need to change to be a better role model, but I didn't have any mentors. And I think that's when, like you said, having that control, and I was in a position, I was driving home and I was drunk as all get out, shouldn't have been driving. And I realized at that moment, my son was probably about 4 years old at the time. I forgot that he was with me. I literally forgot he was with me until I looked over in my truck and he's sitting in the truck next to me. And I remember just praying. I said, God, if you allow me to get home, I'll stop drinking. But I need you to teach me how to be a better man so I can become a good father. And I surrendered everything to him. He got me home, and I stayed a man of my word. I said, look, I haven't had a relationship with you in a very, very long time. So I need you to help open up the door so I can walk in, so I can have that relationship with you because I can't do this on my own. As a man, that's hard to admit. Now, and I'm gonna ask this question with you, right? When you realize the importance of having a relationship with God, how did you, because you gotta you humble yourself, right?
Yes.
And then there's a process that you have to go through. You know, you got, not only do you have to humble yourself, but you have to be open to receive that grace. Then you got to change your mentality, and everything about your life changes along with it. So let's go through that process of you developing that relationship, because you know, as they say, you know, when you start seeking God, you realize that He's also pursuing you too, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like he leaves the 99 to come to find the one. And I'm looking at Shaazia, I'm like, wait, you the one, right? You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so let's talk about that pursuit. You know what I'm saying? Now you're pursuing him, you're changing your life, you're humbling. And let's talk about how he pursued you as well. I think that's that, yeah. So how did you start pursuing him? Pursuing your relationship, and how did that relationship develop?
Yeah, so this is the cool thing. I started watching more like prophetic videos and stuff like that. And the Lord brought somebody to me through the videos and we connected. And
Hmm.
she's a pastor now. We connected and then I started discipleship with her because I didn't know really where to start. I was praying and talking to him and doing that, but discipleship really helped me work on myself and have people that help you be accountable for yourself and
Hmm.
like-minded people.
Right, right.
And I just started kept doing that and even open for me to have a church home because I was looking for a church home for a while.
Hmm.
And I found a church home and I started doing with them and just working. And she also happened to be a writer too, so that even helped me work on my writing and do more and give me guidelines on what you think I could do better with that.
Right. And now, are you doing women's groups and things like that for the fellowship and the community and the connection as well?
Or we do like Bible study on certain times, and I try to on my own. I started up my own little channel where I try to put little inspirational things, videos, or I'll talk about how my writing processes sometimes, or inspirational music, and I try to reach out sometimes on Facebook to different people and try to put my
Mhm.
input of my experiences to help them.
Now, see, that's inspiring. That's truly, truly inspiring. Now, how's that relationship going? Because you know, a relationship with God is, it can get pretty rough, right? You know what I'm saying? Because he wants to make sure that you're okay with this relationship that you have, because what he promises is that, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be tough, right? But the guarantee is that he's not going to leave. Now, during my experience, I almost lost track of that, right? You know, I did. I actually got myself into some men's groups because I wanted to figure out how everybody else was doing it, right? You know what I'm saying? I was like a fly on the wall, like, who is these people? And what are you talking about? You know. So now you're connecting with individuals, you're building those relationships. You've actually started your own, which I commend you on that, at such an early age, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I look, I didn't know, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I'd have been cussing people out. Look, I may be a God fearing man, but I still cuss you out. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Monday through Saturday, I cussed you out. On Sunday, I'm going to ask forgiveness.
Right.
I'm not perfect, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect, but I'm a good man. You know what I'm saying? Just like most of us. So now, how's that relationship going? You know, is he challenging you? Because you know, God, He has a strange way of teaching us the lessons that we need, especially when we're in a place of hurt, deep hurt. You know, so how's that relationship going? As you're starting to develop.
No, it's definitely going good. But in the beginning, certain things I was still a little bit challenged. Like for instance, let's say family members, because sometimes they know what to say to get that little switch and make me get a little crazy. You say the wrong thing, and I'm like, oh, I forgot I'm not supposed to react like that. But help me
Hey,
work on my
sometimes we got it
experiences.
covered.
Right, right, right. But also,
So yeah.
in that revealing things to me where I know that I still hadn't forgiven because by the way I reacted to certain things.
Mm.
When you truly have forgiven, nothing a person can say is gonna make me get out of character. If I truly have forgiven. But
I
when
like
you
that.
know they say one little thing and then you go back to your old ways a little too quickly, then you should when you truly have forgiven, because what in the past is not gonna really matter to you like that.
That is deep, right? And I know that, like, it took me a long time to figure that out. And you're 27, and to me, that just blows my mind, right? Because you're 27 and you figured that part out, and I didn't figure that out till I was already in my 40s. And I tell you what, right? Forgiveness. We talk about forgiveness now. I used to tell people this, like when I can forgive you, but I'm not going to forget what you did. And I guess that's my way of saying, like I thought I forgave him, but then I realized that I still punched him in the neck. Like, get out of here. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So, like, oh yeah, which take that.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't realize that I hadn't totally forgive those things, right? One of the one of the things I learned, because you can only punch but so many people in the neck, right?
Right.
You're not supposed to do that. I realize that now. You're not supposed to do that, right? God said, no, you can't, Tony, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? You got to forgive and forget, and you got to keep moving forward. I was like, but they shouldn't have said what they said, God. He was like, no, that's part of the process. You got. I'm like, but you stop putting me in a situation where I'm going to keep failing, right? You gotta at least open up a door to where like this doesn't keep happening. How about we just not go over there, right? You know what I'm saying? That way I don't have to keep asking for forgiveness for punching them in the neck. um, but it was, one of the profound things that I learned as I began to get rid of a lot of who I thought I was, right? Um, like yourself, had to learn how to respond instead of react, right? And I had to understand the difference. So the reaction aspect of it, I was like, you say something to me that I don't like, I may punch you in the mouth. Not the way to go about it, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But and God said, hey, slow down, slow down. And if the words that are coming out of your mouth is something that's going to cause conflict, don't say it. So there was a lot of every time I wanted to say something, what I'm saying, back to egg it on, God said, no, slow yourself down. Think about this for a minute. And I began to respond in a way to where I used to, my go to was, I get it. I get it. And who am I to tell you that I didn't hurt you? And if I did, I can only ask for forgiveness. And I apologize deeply um, for my offense. And these are things that God was showing me along the way. And and I listened to you, and it's as if you went through something similar, right? You know what I'm saying? The humbleness and things like that. Now, this is the part I want to ask, because I'm always curious about, when did that humbleness start? Right? When did you start to look at it and go, right? So when did that humbleness start with you? And how many ways did it change the way that you moved through this world after?
I would say it definitely started around the time my mother died, when I never had to humble myself to that type of capacity. I mean, I've lost people before, but never that close. I had plans for us together. Like, part of a long time, I thought she was my purpose. I'm gonna make this money so I can help you live a better life. Working two jobs, and my dad not really being there financially at the time, and I wanted to take care of you, which I was putting her before God. Which, when you're
Oh,
not really close with him, it's easy to put anything before him.
this is
And I was
true.
putting her above him, not intentionally, but not knowing that.
Mm.
Then I started, after he healed me, I'm looking at things like differently. Like, I'm not gonna make that mistake again. because I should have always had you first place regardless. Because when it's all said and done, you don't have nothing. God is the only thing that's gonna get you through it.
Right. I totally agree. You touched my heart on that one because you spoke to my soul on that. You know, you definitely spoke to my soul when you said, "Hey, God comes first before anything." A lot of people don't understand that. And don't get me wrong, I get it. There's people out here um, that believe whatever they want, and I'm a firm believer. Hey, if you believe whatever you want, as long as it makes you a good person, you know what I'm saying? Who am I to judge you, right? My beliefs are mine, and but then there's some people out here that are just downright not good. Not good people, right? You know what I'm saying? They're not humble. They got a big ego on them. And I just look at them and go, you know what? Eventually, when you get humble, it's going to suck. And you're not going to understand it. And I say that because I was that guy. I was. And, I'm not afraid to admit it anymore. But I was. Before I got humble, or when God humbled me, he humbled me in a way, just like you said, when my son was born. And I was working on that relationship, but I didn't truly understand it, right? You know what I'm saying? But I always believed that I had this amazing relationship with him. You know what I'm saying? He's teaching me how to be a man. I'm learning how to be a father, a great mentor. I have God as my example. I have Jesus Christ as my mentor as I begin to navigate this world. And then I it was like that for a long time. And then when they took my son, I didn't understand. You know,
Mm.
I didn't, like you said, lost people before, people that was close to me and things like that, but nothing like this. That pain is something I don't wish on no one. But I went through it. God humbled me, and like you, I put my son before everyone. You know, just wanted to be a good father to him. And then God said, "Hey, no one comes before me. Put me first, and I got everything else." So now I got to take care of him first. When God took him, he reminded me of something because I wanted to be, I was mad at him and I wanted to argue with him so bad. And I did. I argued with him. I learned how to argue with God, and God was okay with it. And then finally I said, "Why would you hurt me like this?" And God said, "Because I got something great for you." I said, "Well, why would you take my child from me?" This is the funny part. God said, "Oh, he was mine before he was yours."
Right.
Oh my God. When he said that, I was like, well, I don't think I like your comeback on that one.
Right.
And I don't, you know.
Mm-mm.
So let's talk more about Shaazia and that process. You know what I'm saying? Your relationship is growing. Did you have those moments where he made you laugh or gave you that moment where you had to sit back and go, "Did you really just say that to me?"
You definitely gave me some of those moments.
Let's talk about some of
Definitely.
those moments. Give me your funniest one where you had to sit back and go, huh.
I would say this one was I was at this time I was working at Walmart. No, I'm doing my thing or whatever. Now this is where it gets strange and funny at the same time.
All right, all
I
right.
called them because they ain't called me. I'm trying to figure out when I gotta go back to work. And they like, oh, you've been let go. You've been let go, but they don't know why. They said new management, you've been let go. Now before this, I've seen them let other people get like chance after chance. I said, this is interesting. Out of nowhere, you let go. I'm not bothered. I'm at peace by it. I'm like this got to be God because the way that this didn't happen, I ain't never been so out of the blue with it, and you just been let go. And they had gave me my money and everything. I was like, this is interesting. But
Wow.
I'm just at peace. I'm chilling. I'm just as happy like I got me a job. And I knew it just had to be him.
You know, God, they say God moves in mysterious ways. He works in mysterious ways. I definitely agree. Because listening to that, it's like you just call and go, hey, when am I supposed to come back to work? And all of a sudden you get the news. Oh no, you've been let go. And you think to yourself, like, all right, huh, right? You know what I'm saying? I can
Right.
just I'm imagine your expression on your face, like, huh, okay, I guess that's what we're doing there. Now, when one door closes, another door opens.
Yeah, it
Correct?
makes sense now that I think about it when I go back. Because I was watching this like little preview on YouTube, like Pure Fix is like this faith-based TV shows or movies or something. Because at the time I
Mm-hmm.
still was kind of writing more worldly. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write this, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to do it. That's what I told myself. And the Lord's like, no, you're not. I want you to do it now. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
right now, cause I'm gonna wait to do it. So I just started working on it now.
I love that, right? You know what I'm saying? Because talk about that obedience. Yeah, because and the reason why that's inspiring to me because I didn't do mine right away, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I fought. Look, I fought the whole thing. When God said, God said, I need you to do this. I was like, are you sure you got the right person?
Right.
Right? Sure you got the right person? I was like, that's not for me. That's not for. God said, no, you're going to do this. I was like, oh no, I'm not. You don't understand. I'm not going to do it. So me being the little rebellious child that I am, right? You
Right.
know what I'm saying? God is like, I need you to do this. I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm going over here. And he was like, oh no, you're going to do it. I was like, oh no, you don't understand. I'm not going to do it. Right? You know what I'm saying? And so me and him used to go back and forth. Me and God went back and forth. Yeah, no, I'm not doing it. Oh, yeah, Tony, you're going to do it. No, you don't understand. I'm not about to do none of that. It's like, oh, yeah, you are. No. And then no matter what, talk about freedom of choice, right? You know what I'm saying? This is what I tell people. I don't think God really gave me a choice. I don't think I used to always tell them, I don't think I like the way you did this. So I went all about my way. And I didn't went outside of my own little element, you know what I'm saying, trying to avoid these responsibilities that God is like, hey, this is what I need you to do. I'm like, I didn't look, I'm zigzagging like I ain't got no damn, like I ain't got no sense, right? And I ended up right in the spot that he needed me to be in. And I had to sit back and go like this. What's this whole thing about freedom of choice? I thought you said I had freedom of choice. He goes, yeah, you get to have the freedom to choose to do what I tell you to do.
That's good.
Look, and I just did like this. And like the child, like the little stubborn, big-headed child that I am, I threw a temper tantrum. Just don't make me do. I don't think I like this. But I tell you what, um, that's not the first time, right? You know what I'm saying? It definitely wasn't the last time. And I think about Shazia and how it molded you. Did you have moments like that where you were stomping your feet and threw a temper tantrum too? Please tell me you. Please tell me I'm not the only one.
I did definitely like I'm more of a shy person. Well, I would say
Uh-huh.
I used to be more of a shy person. I don't like really talking a lot. I'm more like, I'm not really trying to say too much. And the Lord's like, I'm gonna need you to start speaking.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I mean, the first few times I was even afraid to even be like speaking for the prayer. The first few times I was on Bible study, I wasn't even really trying to try to say nothing. Like, I'm not really trying to speak like that. He's like, no, I need you to start speaking. I'm like, oh gosh.
Oh, look, that's normally how it goes. You see, and I can understand that. See, people look at me now because I do podcasting, I'm talking to people. I tell people this, look, I'm a strong introvert. I'm okay with being quiet, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm okay with not speaking and things like that. But now you look at what I do, podcasting. I talk all the time. Guest speaking. I talk all the time. This is coming from somebody who didn't say nothing to nobody for like 20 years.
Oh,
I'm serious. I didn't speak to nobody. So, how you doing? We ain't talking. We don't need to talk. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do our own thing. Now look at me, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm like a child who is eating a bunch of candy. I can't. Look, I'm trying to get the message out there now.
right.
Look. I'm trying to get the word out there now. You know what I'm saying? So now you're coming out of your shell. You're learning how to speak, and you got this guidance with you, right? You know what I'm saying? That and I can only imagine you're moving with a purpose. You're moving with this purpose now, right? So learning how to speak is an art form. How did you begin to perfect your art form, right? You know what I'm saying? Because now your music has changed, you're starting to write and things like that. How is it coming out of your shell into a world to where now, you know what I'm saying, you have to speak a lot more than what you really had anticipated, or right? You know what I'm saying? Humbleness, talk about being humble, right? But let's talk about the scaredness of it as well. And how much do you trust in this process, right? Where's your faith in this process?
My faith is 100% in it. One of the things I prayed and asked the Lord is let me be bold in you, because I know myself and I know
Mhm.
I'm not generally a talker. I usually like to be in the background. That ain't what I want. So if you allow me to be bold in you, I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna speak to whoever you bring to me.
Mhm.
And he just
Yeah.
slowly allowed me to be doing that with the prayer and allowed me to, be able to come on podcasts and just, share my truth and my process and different things like that.
Now let's talk about your truth in your message. Let's talk about your message. What is it? What is the message that you're bringing to people through your music and your writing?
It depends on the type of writing, but for instance, I'll say like sometimes I might write a story that's a thriller, but in there it might be talking about forgiveness. That even though
Mhm.
that person that may be after them, in the end, that they do come to a place where they can forgive them and move forward so that they can be the best version of them. Or even
Mhm.
just reconnecting with parents that might have been out of their life, for instance, and forgiving them about meeting where they are at. Meet people where they are at. Because that's how the Lord
Mhm.
meets us. We're not all together when we come to Him. So sometimes you have to show that same courtesy to somebody else.
Yeah, that's very, very true. That's very true. And you've had to walk that path with your father and everything. And so let's talk about how that relationship started to develop, because you know what I'm saying, you guys got to go through a process. He got to get to know you got to get to know him. And all of this has happened after your mother passed away, and things like that. So when was the moment that your relationship with your father changed? Um, and what did that look like?
I would say the moment when it started to sing, I would say it would be a little bit after I started having discipleship and just spending more quiet time with the Lord and, understanding that, He's doing the best that He may know how to do. This may be the best version of Him right now, but let me pray for Him. Let me intercede for Him and still love Him regardless of what He does or does not do. And it started getting better. I helped him go to his appointments and talking, and he's helped me financially with different things without me even having to ask.
I love that. I love that. Now, how many books? How many books have you written?
Well, I'm on my 10th book now.
Number 10.
Number 10.
And you didn't even tell me this. Oh, look, we got to talk about this, Doctor. We got to talk about this. These are things that you're supposed to let a Tony know about these things, because I'm going to brag about that, right? Because I think that's damn cool is hell. Because I only got one book, so I'm far behind. You got 10 books, and I'm like, you 20. Look, I ain't competing with you. I ain't. Let's talk about your 10 books, okay? Let's talk about your 10 books, and then we'll get into the music. So, when was your first book
Okay.
written, and what was it about?
The first one I was written, it was called A Christmas Wish. And it's
Oh,
basically about this teenage girl she's had a rough life, in the foster care system, stuff like that. And her only prayer or wish is to find a family, and how God
mm,
can put people together. And a couple actually, they want to have a child, but they can't. So the Lord actually brings them into each other's life, and they're like the missing pieces of what they both need.
mm. Now, do every last one of your books follow a similar theme going through? Because you got 10 of them, right? So I'm not going to imagine those are like pieces of your life that you're bringing into fruition. Um, so do they follow a certain theme from the first one through the 10th one?
I definitely would say they all have a part of me, a part of what I have experienced in life at some point in the books.
Okay. Now let's talk about your music, right? You've changed it. How's your music changed throughout this process?
I was definitely more intentful, more hopeful to reach another person, more me
Hmm.
being vulnerable and sharing myself and not being afraid to speak what I have been through so that it can help somebody else.
So I love that. I definitely love that. And how many? Okay, let's. You written 10 books? How many songs you got out? And
Yeah.
how many albums do you have? Because I'm curious to know now, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you pumping out stuff left and right over here. You know what I'm saying? You make me seem like I'm just not even working no more. Like,
Oh,
hmm.
I
And
definitely
let's
have
talk about
way.
this. How many songs you got out? How many albums do you have?
I've had over 10 songs that I've written.
Hmm.
Way more. It's too many to really go into count, but a lot of song lyrics. I'm working on adding the music because the music part is new, but I can just
Okay,
write the lyrics like nothing.
okay. Now, why are you procrastinating on putting the music out now? You know what I'm saying? We got to talk about this. Look, you put out 10 books and you procrastinated on the music. And then we just had this conversation where he was like, Itty beat, I got this. I got this. No. What's going on with that? Okay. Because I'm gonna have to get this. I'm gonna have to do something. If I had to come and sit down with Shaazia and go, what you doing? You got a keyboard? Yeah, I can't play the guitar, but I'll try something. Look, we're gonna get this together. Okay.
Nah, we working on it. I'm working with some people. We're getting it. We're getting it done.
Okay. Now, are you releasing it through the church, or are you really, or is this independent?
This will probably be independent.
Okay. Okay. And where will people be able to find your music once you begin to release it?
Yeah, they could find it on Asia 337. That's my YouTube.
Hmm.
So I'll probably be posting some stuff on there.
Okay. And do you have a website that people can go um, to find your books? And just still, with the books that you have, what's some of the titles that people should look for when they're searching for it? Like, where's
Well,
your most inspirational book at?
it is unpublished. I am unpublished.
Okay, okay.
But my favorite one, I think, is Being Human. I think people will love that one. It has like a touch by an angel feel to it.
Uh huh.
Because that was one of the shows I first seen when I came back, and it really touched my soul. And I've
You
tried to
talk about
create that same kind of feeling.
Oh shoot! Now see, you're speaking my language now, right? You know what I'm saying? Because touched by an angel, then you know what I'm saying that's my jam right there. Hey, I I'm old school. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I grew up with grandma watching Touched by an Angel, and then we did it. We did the doggone thing. Now let's talk about that for a minute because I love the fact of it's called being human. Where did the concept come from? And what is your definition about being human?
Well, the conflict has come from is that we are different beings. We all have difficulties. We all have shortcomings. We all fall short. We all need that person to guide us or give us a chance.
Yeah.
So that's where the idea just came from, us being complex people.
Okay. I like that. And I love the concept behind it because when I think about being human, I often speak about how we show up as our authentic self. Because as a human being, and I love the complexity of it, right? Because we are complex beings, and we come in all different shapes, forms, sizes, colors, and things like that. And it goes back to a conversation I had a couple of years ago. Um, this guy was teaching a class about being human, and I listened to him. He kind of deterred me from it a little bit, right? But I was curious enough to explore it on my own a little bit because I understood where he was coming from. Um, I think his approach could have been a lot different in the way that he was trying to teach the class, and I think I made him mad because he posed a question. What is your concept about being human in the workplace? Well, me being the guy that I am, I said, identify what you're supposed to do in this world and do that. And he goes, well, can you elaborate? I said, yeah, I can. I said, what I mean, when you can identify what you're supposed to do in this world, you become more authentically who you are, right? There's no mask. There's no, what I'm saying? There's no gray area. What you see is what you get, right? You know what I'm saying? And I show up every time and not in my space and whomever I'm with. He kind of looked at me, was taken back a little bit. Um, and then from that point on, you can tell he's kind of irritated with me a little bit because I was like,
Mm.
I don't understand where you're coming from. Like you asked me what it was like to be human. I'm like, this is what it's like to be human. Live your best possible life. Love, connect, communicate, uplift, speak words of affirmation over top of over into people and around people. Um, show up in the best version of who you are. And I think when I listen to Shazi, I think that's the message that you're getting out. Like, be who you're authentically supposed to be. Huh,
Yeah, definitely.
I like that. Elaborate a little bit. Elaborate.
Definitely. But no, just every day strive to be, your best person. Seek the
Mhm.
Lord to help you with the things that you're not getting right. Know that it's okay if you don't get it right. It's okay to make a mistake because you're going to
Mhm.
make them. I mean, the best person is going to make a mistake. But you get up and you keep going and you keep pushing for your best effort. It's not about perfection, it's a progress.
I like that. I like that. Now, often, I always ask my guests if you could give the audience some words of encouragement through your life and your life experiences. Um, what would you give them?
I would say just never give up. Whatever you're doing, whether it's writing, music, keep doing it. Seek the Lord because He will get you to the finish line. There is happiness, regardless of what you've been doing in your life, whether it's loss, addiction, you can make it to the other side. I have done it. I've known people who have done it, and you could do it. There's something better for you. Don't give up just because the end now is feeling hard. You have to look past that sometimes and take that first step. God will meet you where you are.
Yeah. Now, when are you? Okay, so my next question is before we wrap this up, when are you publishing your books? Right? You can't
um,
keep all of this stuff to yourself because you know what I'm saying. God said, "When hey, that gift that you have, these books that you have, they're yours. So when you giving us our books, okay, that you so kindly wrote, and you keep it to yourself, you can't look. No, we have to talk about this.
well,
When,
well,
when we
definitely. I
publish, when we
definitely,
publishing these books,
I did enter
huh?
a competition for my writing. I did make it to round two, and I'm waiting to hear back. So,
Now, see, you avoided the question. I'm asking when those books coming out, those 10 books that you have hidden in your little secret vault that you keep it to
oh
Shazi
my
yourself.
gosh.
When are you publishing those books, right? I love the fact that you entered the competition, but I need to know when these books are coming out, right? When they go hit the shelves, because you
You're
know what
gonna
I'm
get
saying?
them
If
soon.
it's
I'm
gonna be
working
like a
on them.
volume set, because I need this, okay? I need this.
All right, I'm
Mhm.
working on getting them out. They're gonna be out soon.
You know I'm gonna stay on top of you, right?
I know.
Yeah. And then there's this music that you haven't put the music to yet. When is that coming out?
That's gonna be soon too. I'm working on them now.
See, you can't. See, like then we gonna do it soon, and all of these things. We gotta get better at.
We're getting in. I'm in talks with the people. We in talks with them.
Now I look forward to it. I look forward to it. If someone wanted to sample your music right now, do you have anything out there that they can check out?
Yeah, definitely check my Facebook, Shaazia Terry. I post lyrics on there sometimes.
Okay, okay. Are you on TikTok as well?
I don't have a TikTok. I probably should look
Okay.
into that.
Yeah, TikTok is pretty cool. Because I'm thinking, right? There's a lot of young artists that come out there. Perfect platform just to get some stuff out there and seeing how people react to it, and things like that. But also, um, I'm a big kid, so I'm on TikTok. I'm not very active on TikTok, but I'm on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to tick-tock it, okay? And we're
Okay.
working it out. We working it out. Do you have a website people can go visit?
No website yet.
No website. But you got the social media handles. Um, so now, I guess my next question is, what's next for Shazi?
It's just getting trying to get these books out, getting this music out, collaborating with some people, getting the stuff out to the people.
All right, all right. I definitely appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that because I'm going to be messaging Jazia. Where those books at? I'm let you know that I'm still here. I'm letting you know I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to see and read because Lord knows I have books out the yin yang over here that I love reading, and I can't wait to dive into those stories and everything. And with that being said, Shazia, thank you for the conversation today. Thank you for being on the show today, and I look forward to many, many more because I saw you on a couple other podcasts as well, with Austin on Band, and someone else too. I saw a couple of previews on that as well. Do you having fun in the podcast field?
Yes, I'm getting used to it, the talking now.
Yeah, okay, okay. I look forward to having more, and everything. And for everyone who has been tuning in, thank you guys for tuning in. And if you guys have made it this far, do me a favor. If you haven't already, head over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. You know the repeat cycle that I always do at the beginning, I always do at the end. And if you enjoy these conversations and you think anyone can benefit from the conversations that we have, do me a favor, share this channel with them. And as always, I'm Tony Lynch. Shazi, again, thank you for being on the show. And this is going to conclude another episode of the Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. And as always, we're going to keep bringing these amazing stories to you. And hopefully, you guys get inspired and do like Shazi and write some books, get some music out there, follow your heart. And as she said, become the best possible human that you can possibly be in this world. Such an inspiration, Shalia. Again, thank you very much. And with that being said, this is going to conclude another episode of the Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. Until next time, I am Tony Lynch, your host. Peace.